I couldn't throw it as far as Brett Favre, Mahomes, and Josh Allen can throw it as far as they want today. You certainly know that I couldn't outrun anybody, but I thought I could out-prepare them. Nobody spent more time communicating with their receivers, getting on the same page, and we're ready to go Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern.
Hey, Yogi, when you're thinking about your process, what's the hardest part about leaning into it consistently, about sticking to what you have laid out for yourself?
The biggest challenge for me is, can I compete to stay in the moment? As you're prepping for a game, you know that game is a few days away and you want to get to Saturday, but can I just be like, this is Monday, kill your prep, take your kids to school, love on like your family, and then get back into it. And it's okay that you don't have it all figured out in one day.
You know, for me, it's consistency, right? And my solution is to be hyper organized about it, and then implementation a day at a time, because I've found the biggest deterrent in my process is the feeling of discouragement and guilt. If I deviate, right, from my plan, my process, then it's like, well, it's easier to deviate the next day. But what if you give yourself a little bit of grace and you say, you know what, maybe it's one day this week where I'm really getting after this thing. Maybe it's 2 days next week. And then when it's 3 days, the third week, you start to see a little bit of a shift in yourself and the improvement you want to find. And that's what you latch on to, right? So for me, it's just a reminder that it doesn't happen overnight because it's a process.
The process.
Winning Super Bowls was the result of a lot of great process.
This is The Process, a special series inside Y Option where we dive into what separates the elite, their habits, their mindset, and the principles that guide them when no one's watching. Welcome to The Process within Y Option. Yogi, Roth, Rhett, Lewis. As always, this show is presented by our founding sponsor who fuels this show, 76, keeping you on the go, go, go so you never miss a beat. Rhett?
Yeah. Wow.
This is good.
Here we go, man. Today we welcome a member of the first family of football, at least in my book. His dad, Archie, was my dad's best man in his wedding. I have a personal affinity for this group, this family, this man right here. He is a friend, a football genius. And while the GOAT term is overused in today's sports world, certainly, Peyton Manning is the unequivocal GOAT of preparation as part of the overall process. So without further ado, we welcome Pro Football Hall of Famer, Peyton Manning. Welcome, Peyton. Excited to have you here, man. And I probably should have included my personal favorite accomplishment of yours. And it's fitting you're wearing that shirt, because back in the early days of the Manning Passing Academy, you would not end up being the last, but you might have been the first coach to inspire a multi-interception game from younger bro Eli. Am I right?
That is true. The camp has changed now. We have 1,400 kids, and we do 7-on-7 at night. The college coaches and all the coaches coach it. But back when we first started the camp, Rhett, I coached the 7-on-7 team, and Eli was a camper.
Right.
And we got to the championship game, and you were supposed to only play cover 3 and cover 1, which we still is the rule. Basic coverages. Let them learn about basic defenses. I was playing in college, so I learned a little bit about some complex defenses, right? Some cover 2-man buster, just to name drop a little name drop coverage, right? Some cover 2 trap. Anyway, we started playing those defenses. Eli, I think through 4 interceptions, he started crying, complaining to my dad. And that's one of my favorite moments.
Same for the record. Feel free to, by the way, clip this off and use this during the Manning cast when he starts getting out of line. Okay,
absolutely.
We know that happens a fair amount.
Absolutely.
So look, we're a show about process, right? Preparation was such a big piece of your professional life, right? It's the stuff of legend. But how did you build it into what it ultimately became as such a big piece of your weekly, monthly, yearly process?
When I got to Tennessee in June of 1994, they said you really aren't allowed to meet with the coaches during this time, but you can watch film on your own. So they walked me into the kind of offensive room, and there was just this huge plethora, like that word, of film that you could watch. And I just started watching film on my own, learning the offense, not by a coach teaching me, just by watching plays from last year. Heath Schuler was the quarterback and kind of saying, kind of looks like on this play, this is the read, and looks like this guy's running this route. And I still have these yellow notepads from today dated June 1, 1994. And when training camp started that August, I kind of felt like I knew a little bit of the offense. And I said, hey, this watching film on your own, taking notes, that works for me. You know, in high school, Rhett, I mean, it's changed now. Now there's real videos. But back then, you know, you had your student videographer trying to follow the ball. He always ended up scanning to the cheerleaders. He ended up in the stands on the band. I'm like, hey, you missed a great play right there. But I get to college, and there's real video. And so that just kind of started my preparation edge, if you will. Look, Rhett, we're all trying to get an edge out there. I couldn't throw it as far as Brett Favre, Mahomes, and Josh Allen can throw it as far as they want today. You certainly know that I couldn't outrun anybody. My old offensive line coach, Howard Mudd, used to say I couldn't run out of sight in a week, which was just great for my confidence. But I thought I could out-prepare him. And whether I had or I hadn't, I just told myself that nobody's watched more film. Nobody's spent more time communicating with their receivers, getting on the same page, and we're ready to go Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. And people used to always say, well, how many hours of film do you watch each night a week? If you're keeping account, that means you're not doing it for the right reasons, right? You watch enough till you get ready to play, and you can go out there and play fast on Friday night, Saturday afternoon, or Sunday.
Okay, so football, the ultimate team sport, we all love it for that as being one of the main reasons. How did you navigate when your teammates or other people within the buildings, their process wasn't maybe as diligent, as detailed as yours? Like, were you a guy to bring them along? How'd you do that?
Absolutely. Look, you know, everybody came from different high school backgrounds, different college backgrounds. I think you just try to surround that player and say, hey, this is how we do it here. And come watch film with us, right? And look, I loved watching film with the whole offense as a group, with all the coaches. You know, a lot of teams now, they break up into individual meetings, which you have to at some point. But the best film is when everybody's in there together, hearing it from the offensive coordinator, asking questions out loud. And then also there's great sessions when it's just the players in there watching film. And, you know, coaches aren't in there, player-led meetings. I like those. And so, yeah, I mean, surround that player, get him to buy into, hey, the mental preparation can be a huge competitive advantage, the cerebral part of it. Look, we're all fast. Well, I'm not fast. A lot of fast guys out there, a lot of big guys. This mental side can give us a little edge. And so, to me, that's part of playing on a team, is trying to get guys to take their game to the next level.
Well, you did, obviously, and so very quickly became the face of a franchise, the face of a city and state of the league, Peyton. You were essentially everything to everyone at that time. So can you give us a glimpse into your mental process in accepting that fact and being the guy whose everyone's eyes are always on?
Well, you know, certainly there's responsibilities that come with being the quarterback. But it doesn't automatically make you a leader, right? Rhett, you have to kind of earn that mantle of leadership. And look, I got drafted by the Colts, first pick of the draft, great honor. But when you're the first pick of the draft, Rhett, you're going to a team that has earned the first pick in the NFL draft. There's a reason they have that pick, right? There's holes. And so it's not going to go well right away, which it did. You remember 3-13, 28 picks, still the record that I hold today. I mean, seriously, Rhett, with 17 games, can some rookie break that record? I mean, what are we doing? Let's go. Here's the problem, Rhett. The rookie struggles early. What does the coach do? Takes him out. Yeah. I go, leave him in there.
Thank God for Jim Mora.
Let him learn. Let him learn. Yeah, I was like, Coach Mora, please take me out. I need to come out. I'm throwing forfeit. You stay in there. You figure it out. Anyway, everybody's looking at you. Hey, are you blaming others? Are you taking responsibility? So it was a great way to kind of learn fast that, hey, this game is hard, but I'm kind of figuring some things out in the fourth quarter of some of these blowouts. That the game is slowing down for me. We go 3-13 my first year to 13-3 the second year. So look, keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah. Bill Poley and our GM said, hey, told the marketing department, don't have Peyton do anything, in marketing. He's
Right.
here to play football first. If we start winning games, now some of those things can open up and free up. And so it's got to be an organizational, focal point that let's get this guy started out on the right deal. And so, yeah, you certainly know you're the quarterback of an NFL franchise, but it's got to start with how you're playing on the field.
Okay, that's amazing because that's the inverse of the world of quarterbacks now. We're all around high school quarterbacks, or we coach our kids in youth sports, let alone in college and the pros. Kids coming out of high school now, it's like they're making a marketing deal before they earn the starting job. And I don't blame them. I mean, that's the reality. You sign at a school and it's 1.5, a house and a Lamborghini, and here's the keys to the car, and you're not ready for it emotionally, clearly, probably not physically, and then just the elements of playing the craft and the position of quarterback. So what might you say to these players that are walking into this den, sight unseen, and all of those things are their reality, and they haven't necessarily walked away from it?
It's a great question because, people don't believe me, but I actually said no to some commercials back in 1998. I did. I'm telling you. I'm like, I'm 3-13. I stink. I've thrown 28 picks. I do not need to be doing that. And so that was always my message to young quarterbacks is go get established on the field, go win some games. Look, all the commercials that I ever did, Rhett, they were always in, I filmed them in July, after OTAs, before training camp, but nobody knows that. And so if you go out and you're on all these commercials and you don't play well, the fans hold it against you, the media all he did was do commercials all off season, right? So it almost, as I started doing it, it made me work even harder. I'm going, they are not going to use that as an excuse that I'm not playing with. If I play bad, I play bad. So look, my message would be, look, you hate to turn down, special opportunities. And I like the fact that, these guys have a chance to earn some things, but it's okay to kind of say no and kind of ease into it. And if you take care of things on the field, you help your team win games, all those opportunities are still going to come your way. My advice would be to be patient on some of those opportunities.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that's obviously been the game plan for nephew Arch. Who spent 2 years at Texas, somewhat, at least on the internal side in the shadows, not externally, certainly. And look, playing some high level ball now. Your son, Marshall's coming up and playing ball now as well. And we've talked so much now about you being famous for being in control, right? As much as you possibly could control the controllables with your preparation and everything else. But when you're on the sidelines as a dad,
oh yeah,
how do you let go of the control?
I mean, my mom used to always tell me after a Tennessee game or a Colts or Broncos game how many different seats my dad sat in during the game, because if we I threw an interception, okay, it was because he was in the wrong seat. He was getting up, moving, biting all his fingernails.
Tickets.
Most of the time, yeah, exactly. Most of the time, Rhett, he ended up in the hall, in the corridor of the old RCA Dome, listening to the crowd. And so, and I never quite understood it, until you have your own kids. Anybody that has children playing youth sports, my daughter plays volleyball. And look, I mean, all you can do is be there to support them. You can't, change the outcome or whatnot. Look, my dad was there every game to hug me, whether I won or lost, and I always remember that. So I try to do the same for our kids, and I think that's a great message, to all parents in youth sports. Be there to support them, help them, sit on your hands, bite your tongue. We don't have to be. It's ease up on the referees. It's ease up on the coaches, and let's support your kid and not coach them, from the stands. And easier said than done, but I think that's the best way to go about it.
With the Fuel Forward app, the more discounts you stack, the more you save.
Feels good to save. I know, right?
How low can you go?
How did you navigate in your career? Because you had this moment where you deal with injury, and then you dealt with not playing anymore. And I think identity for everybody in their process of life after you've hit success is one where you can be attached to an external identity and people telling you who you are and what you are. versus maybe coming from within. And I'm just kind of curious for you, like how you found your voice maybe when you weren't playing, or how you
Yeah.
navigated that inner dialogue when you were going through a moment where maybe the thing you love most was slipping away from your fingertips.
It's a great question because I had this unbelievable string of health from going back to high school. Never missed a start, never missed a game because of injury. And all of a sudden, 2011 gets here. I missed the entire season, have 4 neck surgeries. And look, nobody wants to go through that. But in so many ways, I'm almost glad that it happened because I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I could be resilient. Ashley and I had kids that year, so almost this blessing in disguise that I have, more time to be with them, and that, in their first year, as opposed to watching film and doing all the things that I would do of playing quarterback. But I learned that I could sort of overcome this adversity. I leaned on a lot of people, teammates, coaches, family, physical therapists, our trainers. And I guess I learned that I could play quarterback in a different way. Couldn't throw it as far, couldn't throw it as hard, but could kind of, maybe to use a baseball analogy, couldn't throw the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but you can work those outside edges of the plate. You can still strike somebody out. So, like I said, it was awful during the time, and you felt like you feel helpless. Our team's losing, and of course, you end up having to change teams. But I learned that that I could overcome that adversity, and ended up playing 4 more years and being part of another championship team, and learned that it's more than just playing quarterback. It's not your identity, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody has something like that where they truly appreciate sort of the good things.
Well, last one here for you, Peyton. We'll let you go. But talking about that, you won 2 Super Bowls. Obviously, one with the Colts, one with the Broncos. 5 years later, you're into the Hall of Fame. Now you're winning Emmys. How would you compare your process of trying to win a Super Bowl to trying to hoist that very prestigious hardware for being one of the best TV voices in football?
Look, there's no substitute for working hard. Nobody hits you in the back in this chapter. Nobody talks about your mother, like they do. And I don't want to name certain cities, Rhett, but let's just say certain ones in the Northeast. Okay,
Sure.
you can figure that out. So a little easier there. But look, I've enjoyed this second chapter. People always say, how's retirement? I'm like, that's second chapter, right?
Yeah.
And look, I get to work with my brother, which is great. We have fun, and it's kind of fun doing some different things, right? Kind of out of your comfort zone, but a lot of those same lessons that I learned in football, Rhett, as a rookie, asking lots of questions, surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you in these different areas, and still a lot of team aspect of it too. So I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I like staying close to the game.
Yeah.
I like talking about the game, defending the game. The game's important to me. And like I said, and Eli makes fun of my forehead every Monday night. He calls it my 5 head, which is really great. He's got to get some new material, Rhett. It's 5 years in a row, the same stuff. And he laughs at it. I'm like, you can't laugh at your own joke. It's not even funny.
Well, look, man, we love it. It is how Yogi and I consume Monday Night Football now. We appreciate you guys for doing it. You've made us such bigger fans of that game on that night, and we love getting to interact with you with it, man. Thanks so much for being a part of the process here today, buddy. We appreciate you.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me.
It's the Afterglow, one like no other. Rhett Lewis, Yogi Roth, the process here at Y Option. Whew, that was Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, big love to our founding sponsors, 76, keeping you on the go, so you never miss a beat. I think we will listen to this one many times to never miss like a syllable of what he said, Rhett. Go. Wow. What do you got? You've known this guy forever.
Man. Well, look, I think it started with the idea of finding your edge, right, for me. And everyone knows he watched a ton of tape and prepared, but why? Right? Why was that necessary for him? And I think when we talk about a Hall of Fame type player, you think of like the immense physical ability, the talent. And sure, he had that, but he was not the most physically advanced. He was not the most like just overly talented guy on the field. So he wanted to find the edge, and that started at Tennessee. Probably started even a little bit before that in high school at Newman in New Orleans, and then at Tennessee really kind of figured out all right, this is how I need to get ready for that week, that opponent, that player, that defensive coordinator, finding the edge. And then the idea of like, all right, don't go telling everybody you're watching 10 hours of tape, because that doesn't do anything for anyone, including yourself. Go and do the work that you need to do to feel prepared, whether that's 2 hours or 10 hours. And again, this is something that transcends football, that transcends, tape watching, right? Which, we love to do. This is like, all right, what do you do at your craft? What do you need to do at your craft to gain the edge, to be the most prepared person for your meeting, for your conference, for your seminar, for your speech, right? That's what he was doing. And that, again, I thought was just a good look at a little bit behind the curtain to what we all see on the spotlight is Omaha, like the whole thing.
Yeah. To me, there's a levity to him that I felt through the interview. You've known for 20, 30 years now. And when he talked about bringing people along, like the impetus of that question from us was around, like, you hear of Kobe and MJ, and you've seen it in documentary series where it's like they are hard on teammates. And I loved what he said, because he went back to when he was in college. And he's like, bring them up to watch film with you. And I'm sure if we asked anybody with the Colts or at the Broncos, anywhere at his stops, it was come with me versus do it differently.
Yeah.
And I just think that's cool for people that are in big organizations, right? Like, it's different than basketball. It's a beautiful team sport, as we know. So whether your organization is 11 on offense or 150 in your sales force, like, the idea of like, come along and let me teach you how I do it. Yeah, I learned this from Coach Carroll years ago, that he has 4 levels of competitors, and I'm going to paraphrase this, Rhett. One is a survivor. Freshman year, you're just surviving to compete and like catch your breath. Level 2 is like, you're a competitor, meaning if somebody does something else, I'm comping myself to them and I'll do what he did. Peyton watched film, so I'm the backup quarterback. I will watch film. Level 3 was like a true competitor, and that was like, no matter what Peyton does or Rhett does, I'm going to watch film. I'm going to take care of myself.
Yeah.
But the 4th one was a pure competitor. And that was when, hey, let me show you how I do it. Here's my notes. Here's how I prepared for the game. And it felt like he was the top tier of that.
Yes.
Let me teach you, man. And
That's
imagine when you hear that from the dude, from the CEO and or the Hall of Famer, the GOAT. That's what landed a lot of, like, for all of us, is just keep bringing people along.
Man, that's such a great one. And I'm just going to tell you, and you've probably seen this ball up here on my mantle. This was commemorate. My dad gave us this to my wife and I when we got married 10 years ago now. He presented it to us at our wedding, at our rehearsal dinner, and Archie was there. Archie was my dad's best man in his wedding. Mentioned that at the top. And Archie threw this ball to me at the rehearsal dinner. And so
You caught it, right?
Yeah, well, I did.
Okay.
It was the most stressful catch I've ever had in my life. But this thing's going to fall down now. But I mentioned that because I think about the influence family had there and the way that he was brought up to bring people with him, right? Because that's what Archie had to do. I mean, the Saints were horrible when he was the quarterback, right? It was a bad team. But he had to bring guys with him because he was extremely talented and, was one of the best players of his generation that not enough people really talk about. And, Peyton would spend time at the Saints facility, even when Archie's playing days, were done. And so he learned that from a young age, from Archie, from mom, Olivia, from older brother, Cooper. So I think about family. I think about, the question that you asked him too about his neck injury, like that, which was a great question, as he mentioned, in relying on the people around you, right? Relying on family, relying on teammates, relying on coaches, on support structure to kind of get you through it, right? And you can only do that if there is mutual respect there, and if you've done that for someone else as well. And so I think that all kind of gets interconnected for me.
Yeah. It was also cool, like, hearing him talk to you. Like, it was almost like I had a couple of questions, but I got to like observe your relationship.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, it was really cool because you've
Yeah.
talked about this family and where you grew up in New Orleans, and your dad was a trainer for the Saints, and, like, to your point of his father Archie, What is it like for you to have a relationship evolve on a human level versus beginning as just a professional level with one of the greats of all
Well,
time in the sport we love?
and because and look, I think you always want to leverage your relationships, right? In a certain way, in a respectful way. But because they've always just been a part of my life, there's talking about the Mannings and Eli. I've always been a little bit closer to because we were closer in age. Um, but they're just such genuine people, and I see them every summer at the Manning camp, and we're able to just kind of like talk, and obviously I was in a profession that was very interconnected with theirs, right? And so I really try not to bug too much about the like, hey, can you come do this, can you get together, can you do this for me, that sort of thing, because it just they influence it in a way where you don't makes you not want to like reach out for a favor that way, like it, because it is like a genuine relationship, right? And not one that you're just a connection you're trying to make. You know what I mean? The difference between maybe a connection and a relationship is more what I'm getting at there. But they've been really good to me. I've asked Peyton for something twice in my life. This was the second time. The first time was
Roll the tape.
2007. The Colts are playing the Cowboys. My first job was in Lubbock, Texas. I drove out to Dallas. I had asked him earlier in the week if I could get a one-on-one with him. My bravado, right? Market 153, asking the best player in the world if he'd do an interview with me after a game. They were like, "Yep, we'll give you 2 questions after everyone's done with the scrum." There's 100 people in the scrum. That's back when locker room scrums were like a real thing, right? And they finish up, and sure enough, Peyton stands right there, full suit and tie, and waits, for me. And I asked him one question about the game. I asked him one question about former Red Raider offensive lineman Dylan Gandy, who was starting at right guard for him, because the good folks in Lubbock wanted to hear about their Red Raiders in the NFL. But he was gracious. It was an awful interaction on my part. Like, I was so nervous, and he was just incredible. And I think it just kind of goes back to the way that they were raised and the way that they were brought up and the way that they've kind of, maintained that persona their whole life.
Oh, bravo, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you threw the pass this time.
So
You made this one happen. You made this one
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
It was really it was beautiful. It was really cool to I guess my last takeaway is for all of the quarterbacks out there, and I believe this to be true. And if we had another 30 minutes, maybe we would have got into it.
Yeah.
Right now, this position, like, players are, to me, act almost like political. Like, they have to have a certain persona to them because you're the quarterback. And as I've navigated with high school kids at the Elite 11, or as we do in college football, like, there comes a point where you let your shoulders drop. And that really is about your confidence and being connected to all cleats in the ground.
Yeah.
As a relative phrase here. And I just feel like he's a beautiful model for this generation of quarterbacks, of not just build my brand and build my business and be everywhere all the time. It seems like when it's football season, like, no, it's almost the inverse of that. It's like, can you be so connected and get to know your voice and begin the road to gain mastery around it? Because he had this relaxed, I don't say relaxed, but he had this comfort level to him that, as I flash back to his career, that was kind of seemingly always him. Like, he knew what he was about. He was about the prep. He was about being an elite team. Like, he was about some just foundational non-negotiables.
That's right.
And I just leave our community here, whether you are a dad, a youth coach, starting high school JV quarterback, or a star in whatever it is, but like, what are you like, what is a non-negotiable principle?
Well, and look, I mean, like, people talk about, Arch Manning, not Archie. I call him Arch. So it does, I can imagine it gets a little bit confusing, but Arch down in Texas, he did not take NIL deals before he became the starting quarterback, right? Last thing you want is your backup quarterback out there, as the brand ambassador, for Dr. Pepper or whatever it is. I mean, like, couldn't you see the family influence there?
Totally. Oh
Right.
my
And what
God.
Peyton was talking about, how many people approached him his rookie year when he was throwing 28 interceptions. Right. And I just think that there's something, and the best part about Arch, by the way, and his dad Cooper, they're phenomenal. They have great personalities. They love life, right? They love ball. They love their team. They love friends. But my favorite quote from Cooper the whole time they were going through this with Arch and his recruitment was, "This is going to be a neck roll recruitment. This is the 1980s recruitment, right? This is not one where we're, going like, how much money can you give us and all this and this sort of thing. I want this to be a real relationship based recruitment." Now, some might say that there were bags of money being exchanged back in the 80s, but we won't get into that. But it makes sense, in the way that they carry themselves, like thinking about the roots, right? And thinking about where those were planted and how those were planted. So,
amen, man. That's awesome. All right. Well,
good stuff,
beautifully
brother.
done. Yeah, really fun. First interview we ever did before the sun came up, so that was cool too. And like we had technical difficulties. I think the BTS of this
Oh my
is
gosh,
amazing. One day maybe we'll share
sweat,
it on
like
social.
just,
Yeah,
I mean, like I'm not going to show you the pits right now.
I know. Jim Thornby for the win.
Yeah, way to
Let's
go,
go,
Jimmy.
baby. All right. Lots of love for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you for the lean in
Yeah.
aspect to this series. It's been really fun. It's a limited run here. We're doing it Y Option around the concept of the process. 3 down, a few more to go. Cannot wait to share those with you. So make sure that you are giving us your email, subscribing to the YouTube channel, share this content. Let us know who you want next. Hit Rhett or myself up on social media. Big love to 76 as well. And all of you, enjoy your Manning cast. Peace.